alongside me is my co-host Meghana, are honored to be your host for this exciting event of debate competition.
Today we gather here not only to witness battles but also to celebrate the power of words and ideas.
As we witness the exciting and energetic day which has electrified the day with the delightful presence of amazing personalities among us as judges. Their presence is going to be a key aspect of the entire debate event, placing on record the best feelings and gratitude for your presence, and we would like to present the words of welcome.
We welcome. I kindly request Reverend Father Bharat to escort both of the judges onto the stage and present a small bouquet as token of appreciation for their willingness to spend the time and judge this competition. I request all of you to stand up and give a big round of applause, please.
The debate competition always is very hot. That's why the entire room is now, the temperatures, even the air conditioners are on, the temperatures are not going down. Okay. And you know, especially in a democratic country like us, we always need a lot of dialogue and debate.
Let the debates begin. With this, all the participants the best of luck and may the most compelling arguments emerge victorious.
as they can simply make a decision which is not in a righteous way and make their lives to be in the trouble in the future. I am not a small kid. I can make my own decision. Please don't interfere in my lives. I am the one who should control my lives, said the boy to his irritating parents. From this chat, the boy wants to be free and independent from others, as freedom makes him to be controlled in every situation. Giving children too much freedom spoils them because it can lead to poor choice in their life, irresponsibly and likely to make mistakes on life. Finally, I conclude that youngsters and children who are given too much freedom at early age and whose behavior is reflective of too much freedom are a major irritant to those about them. They might best be described as children no one chooses to be around, and even more succinctly described as spoiled and obnoxious. May we think of freedom not as a right to do as we please, but as an opportunity to do what is right. Thank you for the patience of yours.
So now I kindly request the opponent team, the technology house, to ask for 1 minute questions, please.
Parents are there to control them, right?
But some people, due to the excess freedom given by parents, they may spoil.
The topic is just granting freedom, not over freedom.
Even they're granting freedom, some freedom what they use is spoiling them, right?
Good morning. Good morning, I'm Jessica from Technology House. Many inventions and how many discoveries.
I did say that every child spoils the freedom what the parents give.
That is what majority of the children, they don't spoil the freedom that are given by the parents, right?
How you know that majority of the children spoil is not?
You just have told that, not all of the children, you said now that you don't say that all of the children, spoil their freedom.
Yeah, like some people will be using the freedom, but many of the people by watching devices, they may spoil the freedom given by parents.
They might watch education videos and devices, right?
Some people will be watching entertainment also, right? That may spoil their education.
If there is no certain entertainment in their lives, what is the use of living?
Time up.
They are very terrified of if
if it gets lost. Giving kids enough freedom helps them to become independent and differentiate between right and wrong. By finding the right balance between freedom and control, parents can promote their children's safety, well-being, and growth. The another advantage of giving more freedom to children should include promoting responsibilities and behavior. Complete freedom, on the other hand, allows the children to make their own decisions and take responsibilities for their actions. It also helps in building self-esteem and strengthening the parent-child relationship. Another point of giving more freedom to children will also help them in understanding the topic and be well-behaved. Freedom is a weapon that which we can be careful with it, and we have to be careful with it. Otherwise, it may get lost. Thank you.
You said that they make decisions. What if the decisions are wrong?
We learn from them and we correct them.
Parents give freedom with boundaries, they will not make that big mistake. So, freedom with boundaries is important.
We are not
only freedom.
We are not talking about over freedom. We are just talking about freedom.
That's what I said, freedom with boundaries but not over freedom.
Yeah.
There's difference. At the start of my speech itself, I mentioned.
You said guidelines are required to the children.
I said freedom will allow them to know what is right.
Yeah, then you mentioned that boundaries are required.
Yeah, you also mentioned boundaries are required.
Then when the children learn to survive themselves.
Yeah, they will learn to protect themselves at a certain age, right?
Yeah.
Before attaining a certain age, if they give you full freedom, it's not acceptable.
Okay, that's cool. Please be seated. And now,
Good morning to everyone present over here. My name is Vikas from Grade 10 Technology House. The topic that I am going to discuss is whether granting freedom to children spoils them. When some argue that excessive freedom can be determinant to a children's development, others contended that it does not necessarily spoil children. Here are some key points in favor of the idea. Encourages independence. Allowing children a significant degree of freedom with boundaries is must. It can encourage independence and self-reliance. When children have the freedom to make choices and decisions, they learn to take responsibility of their parents, grandparents, and in their actions. Fosters creativity and exploration. Freedom can provide children with the opportunity to explore their interests and their passions. But it is must that there must be guidelines. When they are not overly restricted or micromanaged, they have the freedom to experiment, be creative, and discover their strengths and weaknesses. Promotes critical thinking. Children who are given the freedom to think for themselves and provide and solve problems independently can develop strong critical analysis of their self. Builds confidence. Having the freedom to make choices and learn from their decisions can boost a child's self-confidence. When children are trusted to handle responsibilities and make choices, it sends a message that they are capable and competent and prepares for adulthood. The real world requires individuals to make decisions and take responsibility of their actions. Allowing children some level of freedom can prepare them for adulthood by teaching them from their childhood. Healthy parent-child relationships. Granting children a degree of freedom can foster a more open and trusting relationship between parents and children. When parents respect their children's autonomy, it can lead to better communication and a stronger bond. Thank you.
You're always mentioning that parents are always there to guide. If they are given freedom, why will they ask anything to their parents? Because they are allowed to do anything.
They
There are some children who are still respectable, okay, in this world, who ask their parents for everything. Not every children are like, we'll do whatever we want, we can do whatever we want. Children ask parents. Not all the children are like that.
Most of them are spoiled, right?
Most of them are not spoiled. Who said most of them are spoiled? How can you prove that most of them are spoiled?
How can you say that most of the children are not spoiled?
Take examples and examples of the children sitting over here. How can you say they all are spoiled?
How do you say that they are all not spoiled? They are all not spoiled.
They are maintaining discipline over there. They're sitting over there. They're sitting quietly.
Okay, Jesse, sit. Next one you can ask the question.
Inner discipline and the discipline that you see outside.
Okay, next one please ask the question. Next participant can ask the question.
This is Gautam from grade 6 from Science House. You just now told that if they get freedom, if they don't get freedom, the mothers and the teachers are there to encourage them and teach them in the childhood to adult.
Can you repeat it perfectly? I can't even understand it.
See, you just now told that if there is no encouragement, then why the parents and teachers are there? They are there to encourage the children.
The topic is about freedom, not to encourage.
But you just now told us starting there is a...
Yes, for your future it is important.
Just now you stress that. Just now you stress that. Just now you stress that freedom spoils children. Does not spoil children. But how do you know the difference between the inner discipline and their outer discipline?
The topic is about freedom, not about discipline.
But she just said that freedom does not spoil children. How does she know that?
How do you know that freedom will spoil the children?
I never said that. I said that it may or may not, but she stressed that it will.
Okay, time up. Please be seated.
Science house. Now you said that you become responsible with freedom. And how exactly? Because without boundaries, how will you be responsible if you are getting everything you want with the freedom? Why would you want to be responsible?
Did he say the freedom that we give is without the boundaries? Did he mention that point?
But he said that they become...
He did not mention it.
He said that we become responsible. And how exactly will we become responsible?
So we can learn from our mistakes and try not to do it again.
But the parents are giving us the freedom to do whatever we want. Then how are they protecting us? How are they giving the boundaries? Then how will we be responsible? Then how will they be responsible?
Giving freedom isn't wrong, right? And parents are here for responsibilities. Here is a quote: granting freedom isn't free. It comes from responsibility. If they be responsible, then they are given freedom, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you give freedom, they are not responsible because they feel that they can do anything they want. And there's also a quote that states that freedom comes with boundaries and discipline.
Freedom. They go to school and they learn there. So how can you tell freedom is a mistake?
And how exactly is going to school freedom?
Why is it not?
That's a basic right. It's not freedom.
It's a basic right, no. It's
Yes.
a freedom. Right means freedom.
So can you do anything you want in school?
There are boundaries. You say that there are boundaries and you...
Exactly. If you give freedom, there are no boundaries. So you need to go to school with the boundaries to be responsible and do what you can and what you can. The paradox of freedom, according to Elton Trueblood in his book Abraham Lincoln, states that we are most free when we are born. For example, the one who wants to be an athlete but is unwilling to train his body to do so is not free to excel on the field. In a nutshell, freedom is bound by the borders and discipline, and excess freedom causes for the lack of them. Now coming to the topic, freedom is a cherished value, but when it comes to children, the opinion changes. Some argue that Granting freedom hinders a child's development and spoils them. Now we will discuss various aspects on why granting freedom children spoils them. Independence without boundaries. While granting children freedom can promote independence, it is crucial to establish boundaries to prevent them from becoming self-centered and lacking sense of discipline. Without limits, children can struggle to understand when freedom becomes dangerous and unsafe. Emotional immaturity. Excess freedom can hinder a child's emotional development. When children are allowed to have their way, they don't understand the qualities of compromise and empathy, meaning they are affected in future life. Absence of structure and stability. Structure is essential for a child's development as it provides a sense of stability and security. Too much freedom can lead to a lack in routine, leading to a chaotic environment which further means conditions aren't suitable for motivation of the child. Risk of exposure to harmful influences. During this age, children are not in control of themselves and sometimes can't tell right from wrong. While granting freedom to children allows them to spread their wings and explore, if it's not in the right path, it may become very dangerous. Thank you.
Abraham Lincoln himself abolished slavery because he wants slaves to get freedom, right?
Yes, but the freedom I said is not about Abraham Lincoln, but the book that was written on him. And the freedom he also gave was bound by borders. He did not give it so that they could do whatever he wants. I said that freedom is bound by borders and discipline because without them, freedom can become uncontrolled.
But without the freedom, the slaves would still be there in India.
Yes, that's true. But they have to have boundaries and borders. Otherwise, the freedom can become uncontrolled. That's why there are also other evils in the world, such as terrorists.
Why should people have boundaries? They also have their own rights.
Exactly. If you don't give the boundaries, people can become dangerous and unsafe.
If there is no freedom, how will the nation develop?
That's not what I said. I said there can be freedom, but with boundaries and discipline, because without it, dangerous things can happen. For example, the terrorists, like I was already saying, they have freedom, but they use it in a bad way.
They are using over freedom, they are not using freedom. Every person who got freedom with boundaries is developing.
And how exactly do you know the difference between freedom and over freedom? And how do you know that terrorists are given over freedom and not freedom?
If they wish to do the work they want without any boundaries, isn't it called over freedom?
Can you repeat it?
If they wish to do anything they want without any boundaries, isn't it called over freedom?
It's not over freedom.
And how exactly do you state that?
I am not stating that it's not over freedom or freedom. I am saying that it's freedom without the boundaries and discipline which can lead to over freedom and unsafe freedom.
Freedom without boundaries and borders is over freedom.
And how exactly is what is the difference between freedom without boundaries and discipline and over freedom?
Timer.
What will children do if we grant them freedom? For children, freedom is to explore, imagine, create, take things apart and put them together. When children are given freedom, when they are given chance to do things independently, they feel a sense of accomplishment and pride. This in turn helps boost their confidence and independence. This can also help them learn how to manage their time and resources. And also granting freedom isn't for free because it comes from responsibility. May I ask you a question? These days, children are spoiled because of giving excess freedom. According to you, what is right way of parenting? Should we give them freedom or let it up to them? My belief is a certain level of freedom should be allowed, but also as a parent, a certain level of common sense should prevail. Some children feel that we don't have any freedom. We may be younger, but we are still trapped in a hard schedule of life. And more freedom is not allowed because we shall always keep an eye on them. This makes children feel trapped, uncomfortable, get mentally disturbed. This proves granting freedom isn't a mistake. Hence, granting freedom doesn't spoil children. Thank you.
How do they build confidence when they got freedom?
Parents are for that, right? Parents give confidence, freedom, etc. Parents are for that, no.
But sometimes if the parent give more freedom, that may they use differently, right?
I didn't tell give over freedom, no. I didn't tell no.
What is freedom, right? Freedom, right?
That's the point
teaches a certain level of freedom. It should be allowed, but also as a parent, a certain level of common sense should prevail.
Well, you said that children, when they get freedom, they get a sense of accomplishment. What about the sense of supreme authority and the sense of entitlement that they get? Isn't that very bad?
No, it's not bad. Parents are there to take care of them and their freedom.
Then what about the freedom? They are giving the freedom.
I didn't mention that boundaries are there. Over freedom. I didn't mention over freedom should be given.
I also did not say over freedom. I said that there are not enough boundaries, and so if you give freedom, there aren't any boundaries, so they might get a sense of entitlement and a sense of supreme authority that there is no one better than them because they are getting everything. Well, if they are given freedom, they get a sense of entitlement and selfishness.
Why do they get?
Because they are given
You cannot
everything.
tell that all children are like that, no? You cannot prove. Tell me an example where this is.
But because when you are given freedom, children don't know what's the right path and the wrong path. Only when they are guided, they get to know the wrong and right path.
You got the point. Parents are guiding and giving them freedom. We didn't tell.
If they are guiding, then how would it become?
Okay, time up. And make sure that it is not one-on-one track.
The desire to indulge your child is extremely high, but if you don't want to spoil them, you need to be objective. Respected teachers, fellow mates and esteemed judges, good morning. This is Yashvi Bafna. In today's debate, we are going to discuss a topic that holds significant importance in shaping the future of our society. Granting freedom spoils the children. As we delve into this contentious issue, it is crucial to recognize that freedom is a double-edged sword. While it is undoubtedly essential for fostering independence and personal growth, there exists a fine line empowering children and inadvertently spoiling them. Let us explore the potential pitfalls of excessive freedom, examining the impact on discipline, responsibility, and the overall development of our children. Researchers have found that the overly relaxed approach to parenting exhibited by permissive parents can lead to a number of negative outcomes. Children raised by permissive parents tend to lack self-discipline, possess poor social skills, may be self-involved, demanding, and may feel insecure due to the lack of boundaries and guidance. Child discipline is the method used to prevent future unwanted behavior in children. Too much freedom can expose children to dangers and risky behavior. Granting too much freedom can foster a sense of entitlement and selfishness in children. In conclusion, we must strike a delicate balance between granting freedom and instilling the necessary values and principles that will shape our children to responsible, compassionate, and successful individuals. Thank you.
Positive outcomes, right?
But you cannot think of the mind what they think, right? Children, it is a confused. They will be confused at that age. They can lead to wrong path also. How can you say that it will be only positive?
Then why did you say only negative outcomes?
With respect, let me show you. I said that while it is undoubtedly essential for fostering independent and personal growth, there exists a fine line empowering children and inadvertently spoiling them.
Why will it spoil?
The age, the children, they are confused. Without guidance and any support, they don't know what they have to do, right?
Parents are there for guidance, right?
That's what. If they are given too much freedom, why will they respect? Why will they ask their parents? They will do as they wish, right?
The topic is not too much freedom, it's just freedom.
I'm saying about freedom only.
You mentioned too much freedom.
Over freedom. You're saying freedom, some freedom are basic rights, right? The
Yes.
children are given basic rights. How can you say that it is freedom?
Rights is nothing but freedom.
We are saying that freedom without boundaries will spoil them.
Freedom with boundaries we mentioned.
We did not say that. We did not mention.
We mentioned, not you.
Okay, time up.
Very good morning, the judges, teachers, and my dear friends. This is Jessica from grade 8T from Technology House. Debating whether granting freedom to children spoils them or helps them to become a better person in life isn't important, nuanced discussion. On the other hand, freedom can be an essential aspect of child's development, fostering independence, self-confidence, and responsible decision-making. Here are some key points that support the statement that freedom doesn't spoil the children. First of all, it helps in development of decision-making skills. Granting freedom allows the children to make choices, both good and bad, which is crucial for the decision-making skills. Over-controlling parents hinder the development of these skills. Secondly, it helps in building self-confidence. When children are given freedom to explore, try new things, and learn from their experiences, they often become more self-confident. They learn to trust their judgment and abilities. Thirdly, it helps in maintaining healthy relationships. Studies show that children who experience balanced level of freedom tend to have a healthy relationships and are better caregivers. At last, it helps in the preparation of children for the responsibilities they will face as adults. At last, I would like to conclude that freedom helps in the development of children rather than spoiling them. Thank you.
This is Gautam from grade 6's Science House. Define your freedom.
My freedom? So freedom is the quality or the state of being free without anybody's restriction.
That is just a basic right.
Yeah, that is a basic right. We all have basic right. We all have basic freedom right to experience.
But some may go in a right path and some may doesn't go in the right path.
Myself, Neha.
We can
Listen once. For children, freedom is to explore, imagine, create, take things apart, and put them together.
How can you be sure about this?
Look,
How can you be sure?
Look, freedom is a basic right for everybody. If we go in the wrong path also, we learn it after. Like, we'll do some wrongs, we'll learn from them, and we'll try even to do more better, right? In those fields.
Example like terrorists, they have freedom, but
they have over freedom. They don't have freedom. They have over freedom.
Terrorists are not children, huh?
The mistake is irreversible, and it takes you to a path that you will regret for your life. You will regret for your life. Then how you stand then?
Those type of mistakes are only done when we are given over freedom.
See, what you told, you are not at all mentioning there is a fine line for a freedom. You are just mentioning freedom should be given to the children. Freedom should be given to the children. You are telling about over freedom, but none of your question has mentioned that freedom with boundaries. Freedom with boundaries. We are mentioning freedom with boundaries. None of your question or none of your argument has freedom with boundaries.
Ma'am, if you have seen it clearly, we have mentioned in our arguments. I have read her content. We both have prepared together. She has mentioned freedom.
No, maybe you are thinking you have mentioned, but when you are arguing, you are not particularly mentioning. See, mentioning a point at the stance is much more important thing. Okay, mentioning a point at a stance is the much more important thing. You are just asking questions based upon what you are telling, what they are telling, but it's not the thing. You have to ask question in a proper way. Okay, and only few of the people are participating. Every person in the group has to participate regarding that. Okay, it's not an argument between you people. It's just a topic. Okay, it's just a topic. You people are friends. Don't fight for this. Okay, everyone is given freedom, and I am given freedom.
A very good morning, everybody. I am Uha, debating for the motion. Anything without boundaries is bad as too little. It applies even for freedom. Too much of freedom for children is bad as no freedom. Giving children freedom helps them become independent, and at the same time, you must impose some restrictions. Giving liberty without boundaries for children is similar to watering a flower in excess, which will obviously destroy it. a flower needs the right amount of water for survival. As the same way, a child also the right amount of freedom. Restrictions are needed for growing children along with freedom. They can't be given everything that they ask. A teacher or a parent must understand the value of giving children exact amount of freedom. Children's choices and freedom have to be narrow, so they meet future obligations in a right way. Kids may not appreciate it at first, but they'll obviously need it. When they are given freedom without restrictions, they are not sensible enough to make right decisions, might follow a wrong path. They are prone to anxiety and depression easily. They are permitted to rule themselves, believe that any kind of behavior is acceptable outside the house. It can lead to lack of responsibility and accountability. Without appropriate guidance and boundaries, they don't learn to take responsibilities. And all these can only be controlled by imposing some restrictions. It is not necessarily a bad thing to give children freedom. However, it should be kept in limit. And children should know the difference between what they want and what they thought that they need. I conclude the speech with a quote. Freedom is the oxygen of our soul until and unless you turn it carbon dioxide. Freedom is a medicine, and the basic direction of how to use this medicine is not by keeping it out of reach of children's hand, but it's just by giving them a proper amount of dose or it will kill them.
Sister, you itself mentioned that freedom is important, right?
If you would have listened. Freedom with limits.
Why with limits?
What? If you freedom without limits, you will do whatever you want. No, right? Freedom it should be. I've mentioned so many times, freedom with limits, with boundaries.
Why with limits, with boundaries? Like all the people who are
there.
So
you're saying why boundaries? Why boundaries are needed? So you have freedom without boundaries, so you will do whatever you want. It's not acceptable.
Who said we'll do whatever we want? Who said? What majority of the people
with freedom, without restriction, you think whatever you're thinking is correct.
Right, okay. Next one, question, next one. Technology.
But without the notice of parents, children are, even though we are keeping restrictions, children are trying to do restricted things.
That's what I said. Children, a parent and a teacher must understand the value of giving right amount of freedom.
So right amount of...
So that it will not lead to overfreedom.
Even though we are giving freedom with restrictions.
A child is like a bird. The bird is ready to leave the nest. Till then, its wings are clipped. Parents and guardians are truly confused because how much freedom is too much freedom? I am Sai Harshini from class 8, here to give my opinion. Children are the object of their lifestyles, a lifestyle which includes a good amount of freedom with ground rules, and enforcing those ground rules will make them to value the freedom they are earned. Another point I would like to discuss is setting clear boundaries and strict rules causes children less stress. Children need to have ground rules so they can comply with them throughout their life. They have to respect others' boundaries as well as theirs. They should not only that, giving freedom too much to children can affect them in many negative ways for disregarding rules and thinking they are the highest in their life and thinking the world revolves around them. I am sure many children here are facing the problem of today, which is the parents are conflicted because they do not want to seem strict, nor do they want to seem lenient. They want their children to grow up into future individuals who are capable of living their lives. Of course, this is a point which we need to stress because parents, we all know our parents love them dearly, but without enforcing proper ground rules is setting them up for failure. Of course, being too strict on them is not good either. Next point I would love to come to is lack of honesty. Children who make mistakes feel they have to be perfect in front of their parents may have a lack of honesty. Of course, this may be a fault from the parents because pressure on children has made them feel unhappy. But we should not forget, freedom is a very conflictive thing. It is a double-edged sword. Remember, once when we use freedom for good, it is the best thing of our lives. But sometimes it is like poison, slowly but surely killing you. I would like to conclude. Please remember, freedom can be used responsibly only if the child is having maturity and the strength of character to use it. Thank you. Good thing, but without enforcing these ground rules and boundaries, they will be clearly spoiled.
I think I'm not satisfied with this answer.
Of course, you have your own opinion, I have my own opinion. We are here, we're not here to settle who is right, who is wrong. We are here to give our opinions.
The topic is granting freedom spoils the children.
Yes, you are right.
But you did not say how the children are spoiling, no?
Of course, there are many examples how children can, like I mentioned, they have a disregard for rules. And second point I mentioned, they think the world revolves around them and they think they are the highest in the world, which is of course a negative thinking in my opinion.
So before you gave that, the freedom should be, bounded freedom should be given to children.
Yes.
Then the children, freedom should be given for spoiling the children, no?
No, freedom should not be given for spoiling children. What I mentioned is freedom should be given, but with ground rules and boundaries.
I'm not satisfied.
Yes, and everyone present over here. Myself, Varshita, representing my math house. Giving your children more freedom can be good for their mental health, so that they can share every single point with their parents in an open-minded way. It enhances their creativity and problem-solving skills, which are very important and which lacks in children in present generation. So, when children are allowed to explore and make their own decisions, they are more likely to devise creative solutions to the problems. So, in today's session, I would really prove that granting freedom may not spoil all the children in different ways are there, but in a particular way that granting freedom will not spoil the children. When the children are given the opportunity to do the things by their own way, they feel a sense of control over their life. Is it true? Of course. They feel a sense of control over their life. We learn everything from our childhood, apply the experiences, and make correct choices in our lives due to those experiences. Maybe sour or more attractive, but in this side, if children are given freedom, they have more experiences and a big possibility of learning many lessons taught by life. So, since bigger mistakes is equals to bigger lessons, children will be able to surely give their best in their future. This granted freedom helps to reduce anxiety and stress levels. Hence, automatically it improves self-esteem of children. One can sustain anywhere if they have self-esteem and self-confidence. And the most benefit of granting freedom is it builds independence and of course self-confidence. If they have self-confidence, the freedom helps them to develop the responsibility of children. It was also very helpful for their mental health. By the child in a proper manner, it is sure that they can build their character and become the creator of their reality. So, please note that I am not talking about over-freedom, but only a freedom which was believed by the parents due to their character. That's it. So when kids grow up, parents need to give them freedom to live their life as they want. It is an essential step of parenting journey which helps the kids to learn and grow. Giving enough freedom to children helps them to become independent and differentiate between right and wrong. Kyle Pruitt, MD and clinical professor of child psychiatry at Yale School of Medicine, declared that free-range supporting states that it encourages problem-solving skills, promotes creativity, strengthens personality formation and builds confidence as well as the character. According to Psychology Today, a recent study published in Child Development Journal found that giving children enough freedom to make their own decisions was connected with improved well-being for both parents as well as children. Children who had granted freedom did better emotionally, their own needs were met to the greater extent, and the family as a whole was more emotionally linked. It was even discovered that parenting involves option within specified limits seems to be ideal. So if we talk about in a professional case like in school life,
There should be definitely freedom in schools, because nowadays, due to the pressure that the schools, few schools were keeping pressure on schools, so that there are many suicide attempts and pressure. Due to the pressure, children are feeling very suffocated. So,
Time up.
thank you.
Now,
You mentioned that there should be able to learn about the world. But in the present society, there are many bad-minded people. So there is a possibility of children to follow the footsteps of bad people.
But giving enough freedom, it's like I'm not insisting about over freedom, but if there is enough freedom, a child, if anything incidents happen or anything, they can share with their parents in an easy manner and openly, so that there will not be any stress in themselves. So they will not addict to the bad society.
But when they are affected, they don't want to say it to their parents because they like the bad things, right?
No, how can you prove so?
Because everyone attracts to the bad first, then to right.
No, it's not like that. All the children, it's like in the present generation, they are addicting to bad just because not in the point of freedom, but due to the internet and other sources and listening to bad words of friends or something.
But it is scientifically proven that human mental thing will change to move towards the bad things, right?
But I guess you're going beyond the topic because it's children's freedom.
Thank you.
okay, time up.
You mentioned that there should be able to learn about the world. But in the present society, there are many bad-minded people. So there is a possibility of children to follow the footsteps of bad people.
But giving enough freedom, it's like I'm not insisting about over freedom, but if there is enough freedom, a child, if anything incidents happen or anything, they can share with their parents in an easy manner and openly, so that there will not be any stress in themselves. So they will not addict to the bad society.
But when they are affected, they don't want to say it to their parents because they like the bad things, right?
No, how can you prove so?
Because everyone attracts to the bad first, then to right.
No, it's not like that. All the children, it's like in the present generation, they are addicting to bad just because not in the point of freedom, but due to the internet and other sources and listening to bad words of friends or something.
But it is scientifically proven that human mental thing will change to move towards the bad things, right?
But I guess you're going beyond the topic because it's children's freedom.
Thank you.
Okay, time up.
I'm going to speak about the topic granting freedom spoils the children. First of all, no, I do not agree that granting freedom spoils the children. Giving children enough freedom will help them to become an independent individual and also differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. Children have the right to know what is happening around them, and they also have the right to access the information which interests them a lot. Granting children enough freedom has a lot of significance and impact on their lives. With the help of the freedom the children have, we can comprehend current problems, inquire and build up our own opinions on topical subjects. Like adults, children also have the right to mentally react and have their own opinions on different issues. So actually, they also have the right to think freely and to adhere to the values, convictions of our choice. Thank you.
Doesn't spoil the children, but if the child is given freedom, especially in a society that has bad reputation, the child's life might get spoiled, right?
I agree with your point, but the thing is that everyone needs freedom. It may be a lot of freedom or a little amount of freedom, but everyone needs freedom.
So you're speaking against the freedom. So knowingly or unknowingly, you also got the freedom. Now in this generation, everyone are having their own mobiles. Even students are having own mobiles. Isn't that called freedom? So usage of mobiles, it's of course though it has its negative impacts. Few people who are very intelligent and creative are creating apps, and it's becoming they're building their own character, right?
We are not against the freedom. We are just telling them freedom has its own boundaries.
Of course, but you're also having freedom, right? Access to mobile is a kind of freedom.
Even I'm also getting spoiled, right, by watching the phones and TVs.
Of course, it's not like spoiling, no. There are people who can utilize the freedom. Of course, parents will have an eye on them.
See, even if the mobiles, we are having our own mobiles, we need to take the permission of the parent, right?
Communication need to be, I'm Krishna. Communication need to be with parents and the children. They are not so mature, no? They are up to 18 years, right? They are not so mature. Communication need to be with the parents and the children for the freedom.
Though, because of the phones, only the communication between the parents and children is decreased, right?
No, though freedom was granted, parents won't leave like that, no. They'll have definitely an eye on them. That's it.
Okay, time out.
And my dear fellow friends, I'm here to talk for the motion. So first of all, I would like to tell that freedom is a medicine, and the basic direction how to use this medicine is not by keeping it out of the reach of children, but it's just by giving them the proper amount of dose. Otherwise, there's a possibility of killing the children. So what is a freedom? When you ask this question to a child, the answer he would give is to get whatever they like. But in my view, the freedom a child should get is the right to go to school, the right to read their favorite subject, the right to play with their friends, they have to get encouragement in whatever talent they have, what they can do. Next, under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Child defines child as a human being below the age of 18 years. And the WHO tells that a human of age below 18 years is not that mature. He cannot build his own character of responsibility. He cannot wield a responsibility. So what could happen is that he could step into a wrong way. He could take wrong decisions. So this could also be a disadvantage for giving freedom to children. When children have many responsibilities and little power, they become malcontent and rebellious. When they have too much power and freedom and too few responsibilities, they become spoiled. This lack of accountability is a recipe of disaster. Parents must have a few roles as possible, but also as many as necessary. By this, I would like to give another quote that a child is like a vaccine. The freedom which we should give to a child should be like a vaccine. It should be either killed or either be semi-active so that the child don't go to a higher position, don't go into a bad world, bad things or bad thinking capacity. Thank you.
A cheerful morning to one and all present here. Myself Harshita standing before you to share my thoughts about granting freedom to children spoils them. If a child is given more freedom, especially in a society that has a bad reputation, the child's life might get bad, and this is because a child doesn't have any experience about the outside world and might follow the footsteps of bad people. If you were to give a child too much freedom, then they will not be able to live the right life of rules as they grow up. Too much freedom can leave the children free and often spoil them. Too much freedom can allow you to infringe the freedom of another person. This often takes the form of endangering the person's safety, which is a violation of his or her right to be safe and protected. Giving freedom can be destructive because it can lead to poor choice of their life, behave irresponsibly, and likely to make more mistakes in life. The main reason why one must not give too much liberty is that they can involve in illegal activities. I'd argue the principal reason we have limits on our rights is to protect us from others and to protect others from us. Therefore, I'd like to wrap up my speech by expressing that freedom spoils a child's life. Thank you.
The outside world. But if you give freedom only, they can know about all the outside world, right?
Yes, you're right, but giving more freedom can, if the child is in a society of a bad reputation, he can get spoiled by going out and following. If the people are bad, he can follow them and maybe get spoiled.
That depends on the people, right? Not children's freedom.
In the present society, you do know that there are bad reputation, bad people. So a child is not mature enough to tell why we should not follow this fellow, why we should not follow bad fellow, why should follow only a good fellow.
Yeah.
So they'll not know the difference between, and then how could you change their mentality?
Though, see, if they are distracted and what you say, it's like, of course it's true, but if they are distracted and disturbed by these consequences, they'll remember throughout their life. Though it's age of 6 or 7 also, those situations, if they are irreversible, I'm talking about only situations that are irreversible also, they can remember it throughout their life and share with their kids in the next generation. Since bigger mistakes is equals to bigger lessons. I always believe this quote, and of course, making mistakes is not our mistake, right? It's about our childish ignorance and innocence. It matters.
This is Ashwin, and about your statement, what if it is a traumatic experience?
What?
Traumatic experience.
Experiences will be there in life, for sure. Though if the freedom is granted or not, experiences will surely there.
But granting a limited amount of freedom.
Yeah, I'm not at all talking about over freedom, limited freedom. Yeah.
So, freedom with boundaries makes children vulnerable.
No, see, if no boundaries are there, means children can, if anything happens also, they can share with their parents in a very open-minded way. Because they have freedom, and if children believe that my parents will not shout me, I did this mistake, so I better share it. Only if children think like this, they'll see.
What if they get a sense of supremacy on their parents?
How can they get it if the parents act? I know that parents will not at all scold the children, though if they did mistakes, they'll correct the children and they'll make the experiences and they'll present all the experiences. Of course, parents' responsibility is to shape the future of children.
Okay, time up.
You told the parents, excuse me, Varshita.
A wonderful day, everyone. I am Callan from grade 6, the speaker 3 of Maths House. I am going to present the topic, granting freedom to children doesn't spoil them. Helps in children growth and responsibility. When children are given the freedom, it gives them the opportunity to make decisions and experience the consequence of actions, which helps them to learn. Promotes creativity and individuality. Freedom helps them to explore interests and talents. As K. Redfield Jameson said, children need the freedom and time to play. Play is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Building trust and communication encourages communication between parents and children and trust. Kids can express their thoughts, opinions, healthy discussion, and mutual understanding. Positive emotional well-being boosts self-esteem, self-confidence, and overall happiness. Problem-solving capacity increases with freedom when they fail to do so in some decisions. Helps learn from mistakes, the ability to adapt and find solutions independently. Lastly, as Anna Quinton said, children should have enough freedom to be themselves once they learn the ropes. So I conclude with this, that giving freedom to children does not spoil them. Thank you.
You told that they can understand how to do problem-solving capacities they can have. The kids can understand how to do problem-solving skills, but they actually create more problems or they complicate them instead of actually solving the problem. There is we can actually expect more of the creating more problems than solving the problems. How do you support it?
Well, actually, Bridya, my name is Hemant from class S. Well, actually, if the
child came to this situation, then the parent will tell the child, this is the correct solution to the problem. And the child will understand because it's a friendly child and parent relationship. So the child can understand the parent and then understand that they should not take this wrong decision.
Involving of parents is completely different from freedom. Freedom is given so that the kids can do things themselves.
My name is Parents itself are themselves giving freedom, you know.
Few nights they don't come for the decisions, and kids give the parents give the kids the freedom so that they can think themselves. But involving the parents means directly they are not giving the freedom.
They itself they are giving to children, no. They are granting the freedom. Then who itself?
And Harshita, they are granting the freedom, but they are granting the freedom so that they can think by themselves. But involving parents is completely different from freedom.
No, I don't agree with this.
My point is that if a child cannot solve the problem, then the parents will give them like how to solve the problem. And if you came across the situation again next time, you should solve this in this pattern like that.
I'm Hanva Kadir. So Hemant, you said that the freedom is given by the parents to the children. So if they give the freedom to the children, it means they have love on their children. So if take an example, if a child is watching mobile phone, which can affect his education, the parents can think that it's due to their love, they can think that let him watch for some time, and which can impact on his life, right?
My name is Krishna. Education doesn't mean only studying. It may be other activities also, like sports, dance, singing, etc. They may be watching mobile phones for their knowledge, increasing their knowledge.
So the last speaker from the English house, please come forward.
Freedom is like a gift, but like any other gift, it should be used carefully. If not, it can have serious consequences. This is Ashrit from grade 10. Speaking further topics, freedom can spoil the children. So now, imagine a boy who is given freedom above his accountability or within his accountability and he misused it. So it can affect many aspects of his life. Now during his childhood, academically, he may have no daily routines or academic timetable. So he may take his studies lightly, resulting in poor academic performances which will later affect his future. Now, coming to behavior-wise, he may have taken the sense of freedom as his privilege, which develops entitlement in him, and he thinks he can get anything. He thinks he can get anything from his parents. So he might not even respect the parents' decisions and go to his friends for decisions. Now, as we all know, friends are good and bad. If he finds a good friend, his friend may restrict his freedom and lead him into good path. But if he finds a bad friend, he may not do so, and he might go to bad path. So, transitioning into his adulthood, he may have financial irresponsibilities, which is the cause of his no financial management during his childhood. And he may have difficulty in employment, which is the cause of his academic instability. And he may have emotional and social struggles because of his entitlement.
That is too much freedom, no?
Students are taking lenience of freedom which is given to them.
That's what it is, too much freedom.
No, in the limited amount of freedom also they can take lenience. So, the basic limit should be given to students.
Basic limits are given. How will they take it?
So they can misuse. They can misuse their student life.
I have a question. Myself, Chaitra from 7E. If they get to face some problems in their when they are parents, and then their parents might help or not, but if they have freedom in the childhood, they will not be mentally stressed.
Did not understand your question. Can you repeat?
If they get to face some problems in the future, the parents might help or not. But if they get freedom, they can solve them easily.
So they can get some real life experience and the boundaries can be increased.
If they are mentally stressed, they don't know what to do and they don't know how to do.
That's what, to stop that mental stress, only freedom, enough freedom was given. Just though it's not like 10% freedom is given also, they not feel stressed, no. They believe that my mother will not shout at me. I need to share this instant.
As she said, that if parents were not there and they will grant freedom to them, what if they misuse it then?
That is over freedom. It's out of the topic.
Even if they have the limited amount of freedom, there are few children who take it in a wrong way and who misuse that little amount of freedom too. We cannot tell that every child is same. There are different opinions in every child's brain. Everyone is different from each other.
And Pranav, can you give an example?
Like for example, me and my brother. My brother is good, a sport fellow. I am good at studying. So there's a difference in mindset. He thinks respecting. There are different opinions in us. We have different choices. Of course, the different mindset will be there between a kid and the other.
Okay, time up. Please be seated. And the last.
Krishna. The topic is granting freedom spoils the children. I am against this topic because granting freedom does not spoil the children in many ways. Some of the ways are development of responsibility. If there is any freedom of doing, for example, education, if we are counting 99% in one academic year, the next academic goes to 100%. That is the achievement and the responsibility they need to do it. And the second one is independence. Freedom fosters independence in children. It encourages them to think for themselves, solve problems, and become more self-reliant individuals. And the third point is learning through experiences. Experiences matters a lot here. Experiencing the consequences of their actions within a safe and supervised environment can be a powerful teacher. This experimental learning can help children grow and mature. And the fourth one is creating the critical thinking mentality. If we get freedom, we think. If we think, then only we understand the topic and speak it out. If we know the correct thing only, then we speak it out. So freedom need to be there for speaking. Suppose if we take one problem, that is person A and person B. If person A done mistake, it is proven that person B has done. If person C, suppose me, I have seen the mistake. Person A done the mistake, I can say with confidence and prove that also. So granting freedom for speaking and for listening, academics, etc. All the things we need freedom.
Afternoon we have finals, right?
Yes, Father.
Okay, for the round 1, the winners are Science House. And then round 2 winners are Math House. So afternoon they'll be fighting. Only 2 houses will be fighting in the afternoon. But you know, ma'am is telling it's very little difference. Don't get disappointed. And technology house and then English house. Actually, English house should win this one. Debate. What Ramesh sir, what is happening to English house? Okay. No, next year English house. Okay.
Request Father Bharat to present the memento to Ramchandra Nam for being here and judging our competition. Thank you, sir. May I request everyone to give a big round of applause. Larame Nam, please receive the small token of our appreciation. Thank you so much for being here.
First of all, I would like to congratulate my opponent team a very all the best. I agree with the statement, granting freedom spoils the children. In this new era, we can find that many of the children are given freedom by the parents to make decisions in their life. However, freedom can be distracted by the people. I'm not a little kid. I can make my own decisions. Please don't interfere in my lives. I am the one who should control my own life, said the boy to his irritating parents. In this chart, we can understand that the boy wants to be free and independent from others, as freedom makes him to be controlled in every situation. Giving freedom to children spoils them because it leads to poor choice in their life and behave irresponsibly and likely to make mistakes in life. Finally, I conclude that youngsters and children who are given more freedom at early age and whose behavior is reflective are freedom of a major irritant of those about them. May we think freedom is the right to do as we please, but as the opportunity to do what is right. Thank you for the patience of yours.
Okay, now it is the time for rebuttal. You can debate over the concepts or ideas the speaker has put forward. Now it is the time for Math House. You can take 1 minute to present your doubts or clarifications and argue with the speaker. Go ahead, please.
This is Krishna. So you said that that is a poor choice of giving. If the freedom was given, it is a poor choice, you said. If first freedom is given, then we have the choice to see if this is best or this is best.
But do you think everyone will be choosing the same path?
No, did I say the same path?
No, you're saying that like they may choose best or wrong, right? Some people will be going in wrong path, which is not.
See, if we go in the wrong path or something, but from that mistake we learn something, right? We have the experience to share with in the future.
How are you so sure that you'll recover from the experience?
So, though we recover or not, but the mistake we did will be remembered forever in our life. That's for sure.
But the mistake should not happen, right?
If you have the freedom, how will you know that it's wrong what you're doing?
The parents won't, though if the freedom was granted, parents will never leave their kids. They'll have an eye on them.
I know, I didn't say that parents will leave their kids. But if they gave freedom, it means that they're allowing them to do whatever they want.
Proper freedom needs to be there. Communication with parents and the students or the children.
Limited freedom.
Yes, that's why I'm saying there should be restricted freedom.
No, I'm not agreeing.
Freedom with boundaries is correct, but without boundaries, leaving the children, it's wrong, right?
Without boundaries, that is over freedom. But we are talking about just freedom, which was given. It's like now we are all having students, all children are having access for mobile. Isn't that called a freedom?
But due to the mobile phones, we are like distracting from the education.
Just like every coin has two sides, you are seeing only negatives, but see positives. Due to that, the children are developing their mindset, and few people are creating apps, and all those things are developing now.
How do you know that like they are using in correct way or they are using for entertainment purpose?
Parents will be there, no?
How are you sure that more people are going in the positive way using mobiles? Have you done research?
Though if they go in positive way or negative way, they have an experience. Experiences teach us many lessons in life.
But when you're young, you have a chance to recover and again learn from your mistakes. But once you grow old, it's hard to do that.
But this is the topic about childhood, no?
Exactly. But if you take them in the wrong path in the childhood, it can lead them to bad situations.
Parents are there, no?
Yes, but parents gave them the freedom to do whatever
that
they
is
the
called
limited freedom, the moderate freedom, not the excess, not very low.
It's limited freedom.
Yeah, the limited freedom, if they use it in wrong way, even the limited freedom, some people will be using in wrong way.
Parents are correcting, no?
They are just giving the freedom. They are just giving
communication need to be with parents and
freedom as a whole.
This occurs just because of miscommunication, or if this will never occur. If the child understands that, see, the matter of freedom is just
children. It's already time up. Your game, please be seated. And then the first speaker from Math's House.
Representing my Math House, speaking against the motion that granting freedom will not spoil all the children, or may not spoil. Yeah. So granting freedom to the children, it's very good for their mental health. I have an example. So if suppose think me, involve me in this example. So if I did a mistake, and if the freedom was granted to me, I'll say to my mother or father that I did like this, I'm really sorry. If the freedom was granted, I can share my views so that I can be independent, decision making, I can improve the quality so that my parents will trust me. Like that, these qualities will improve. And mental health, though, if I got any incident or anything, if I cannot able to share with them due to the restricted environment, I cannot be happy, right? So the freedom matters only happiness, and the freedom we got is utilized. If we are utilizing the freedom in a proper way, the freedom it's just an absolute thing in the world. So it can be used as a weapon by us. So when the children are given the opportunity to explore and do their things by their own, they'll get a sense of control of their life, isn't it? We can control our lives. So the children are always independent. In upcoming era, there will be a surely change that children will be able to do wonders in their life. Just because if the parents will give freedom, that if they believe, if we nurture the dreams of our children, the world will be blessed. Only children will be given freedom or granted freedom only due to their character. Because parents will always have an eye on the children, and they can get the idea that my child will do like this. So I have to give this much amount of freedom, or that much, or 10%, or like that. Parents have their own information about the children so that they will not misuse it. If the child misuses the freedom given, if the consequences faced by the child and the experiences they got will utilize and help them a lot in their future. So that the children, what mistakes they have done, if they learn from this, they'll definitely learn from this. Though if they did not learn, the mistakes the mistakes will be surely remembered by them. Am I right or not? So if we did a mistake in our 8th grade, it's not because of academics or anything, but if we did a mistake, it's reversible or irreversible, it doesn't matter. The mistake will be remembered till 9th class at least, so that the mistake will never be repeated. So that's my view. Thank you.
Freedom makes you to control your life. Like they may go in wrong path and may also be arrogant, right?
That depends on the children, the amount of freedom given by their parents. I already mentioned the point that if the freedom was limited, it's limited freedom. If parents give according to the child's capability, behavior, and all this character, actually children will shape the character, and children are the creators of their reality, right? So it's because of that.
But what we are saying is that if children are given freedom, they don't know what path to follow, so they're not in control of their life because they can be misled in the wrong way. Their parents aren't behind them.
The limit.
Actually, when children make mistakes, parents will be there to guide them. And also, as Barshita's sister told that, the mistakes will be forever remembered in their life. I'm not trying to go against your points, but I do agree with them.
I totally agree, but when you're a child, how exactly do you know and how can you differentiate right from wrong? Then how will you know what is wrong, what is right?
To differentiate between right and wrong, children should have an idea and experiences, right? So at least for those experiences, parents will give limited freedom, enough freedom, not over freedom.
But there is a thin line between unsafe and safe freedom. But what if they cross the line from safe freedom to unsafe freedom?
But parents will never leave. Parents will never leave.
But the freedom is small age may mislead them, right? After grown up, if they get freedom, it may be useful. But freedom at small age, it may be useful.
No, they'll get an idea how to utilize the freedom, right? It's about the idea projected.
What if they get an idea to utilize this freedom in a bad way? How are you so sure?
Then how are you so sure that only it will be impacted in a bad way?
Time up. Please. Before.
Hello everyone. I am Subramanian from ATEX. According to The Paradox of Freedom by Elton Trueblood, he states that we are most free when we are bound. For example, an athlete who wants to be more professional and qualified but is unwilling to train his body to do so cannot excel on the field. And so, in a nutshell, freedom is bound by borders and experience, and the excess of freedom can cause for the lack of them. Now coming to the topic, freedom is a well-cherished value, but when it comes to children, the opinion changes. And some argue that it may spoil children and can cause for the hindrance of their development. And today we will be talking about the various aspects about why a freedom can spoil children. Number one, independence without boundaries. Freedom can allow a child to spread their wings and explore, but it can also mislead them in the wrong path if they don't have right borders, and it can also make them self-centered with a lack of discipline. And so it is very important to have limits and boundaries. Second point is emotional immaturity. Due to freedom, there is a hindrance in a child's emotional development, and if freedom is given to children, it allows them to have absence in the qualities of compromise and empathy, which are very important in a child's life. Without these, they cannot excel in future life, such as personal life and also in employment. The third point is structure and motivation. Due to freedom, there is no proper structure of the child's life, which makes them feel very unstable and insecure, which can cause for a chaotic environment around the child and cause tensions between the child and their parents. This can cause for a lack of motivation and a lack of the child's growth. The last but most important point is the risk of harmful influences. Due to, at this age, children are very vulnerable and unpredictable, meaning they cannot tell right from wrong, and also what type of freedom is safe and what type of freedom is unsafe. And so it is very important to look after a child and keep some restrictions so that they don't go in harm's way. And so I would like to conclude that all in all, granting freedom to a child is very important to allow them to spread their wings and explore, but if it is given too much, then it can cause for danger. Thank you.
Okay, now it is the turn of Math House. You may ask your clarifications or ask questions to prove or disprove. Okay, go ahead, your time starts now.
So you talked about the structure of child's life, right? No proper structure you mentioned, is it? So how can you prove it so?
Well, if you are having full freedom, you won't.
But it's not full freedom. Just limited amount of freedom.
The thing we are talking about is not limited or excess freedom. It's about freedom as a whole. So what I'm saying is that freedom is given to a child, structure is not there. And by structure, I mean the way their mindset is and the way they act.
Mindset can be developed also, no? How can you think only negatively? Then maybe it has its own advantages.
I did not say a hindrance in structure, I did not say a negative structure.
Yeah.
I said there could be a problem in the structure and the could adds a possibility. I did not say it will lead to damage in structure.
So what do you mean by your statement?
I mean that it can lead to problems in the child's development and mindset.
But the problems, there might be a chance of learning from it, no?
Yes, there is. I did not disagree with that, but I said there is also a chance of misleading in the child's life, as they don't know
It's
which
not
path
the
to
one
follow.
person asking many questions. One question, then go to the next one.
Before you said that it is safe freedom and unsafe freedom, how can you give it out?
Well, there's a big difference between a very smart person like Elon Musk or some terrorist, because a terrorist has used his freedom in a wrong way, while a smart person has used it in a right way to invent something.
Terrorists are not the children. The topic is about children. You need to stay to the point.
When terrorists are born, are they children or not?
I mean, the point they said that granting freedom. They did not say
small differences in the childhood lead to big differences in adulthood.
They learn from childhood, right?
I'm not agreeing.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, I'm Pranav from grade 80. Here to talk about the topic, granting more freedom to children spoils them. Firstly, Granting enough freedom to children helps them to develop a distinct behavior and personality which helps them to maintain in a future generations and which is useful for them in future. Freedom brings out the inherent talents which helps them for the children, which helps them to flourish in future. Example, Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar has become the greatest cricketer because he got the freedom by his parents to choose what is right, to choose the path of his own as his interest. Study and secondly. Study is a branch of tree in which it is not only the branch of tree in which a student can take part in his future. The great people in the world, like scientists, players, artists, are successful as they have got freedom by choosing their own life as their part of interest. I finally conclude that enough freedom with boundaries should be given for children for their future use. Thank you.
Come forward.
How do you know that Sachin Tendulkar was given freedom?
Because I searched on the internet.
How do you know there's thesis in that case?
What?
How do you know it's true? Everything in internet is true?
It's true. I even searched it in a book. Even my friend said that.
So, how can you prove that it's wrong?
I did not say it was wrong. I'm just asking.
Yeah, okay.
How it is true?
He told that he read it in a book or something, but you are opposing it, right?
Yes, I'm asking. How exactly do you say that he was given freedom or not? How do you define freedom?
If the freedom is given or he is achieving that much height.
So you need to be given freedom to achieve that much?
Yeah. Freedom, how can we go and do it all this?
Maybe it could have been his parents' interest.
No, any parent will not. It's like not all the parents will.
Subramaniam, please give the chance to others also to speak.
Maybe he was not having freedom at childhood. Abdul said that they have freedom in childhood. They may have freedom after grown up, right?
In childhood, it's not a matter of freedom, but the choice he made was correct. It's like he achieved his dream.
And he wanted to become what he wants. Instead, some parents who don't give freedom to the children, they'll say, study BTech, study BCom.
That is what, no. We have the freedom to choose our profession, right?
Exactly. How do you know that he was given freedom, but not how he said, go be a cricketer? Maybe their parents might have said that.
No, how can you prove so then? How you can think that not only their parents have pushed him, right?
I did not say maybe they were. Maybe he was given.
Then maybe they not know.
That's what I'm asking. How do you know that he was given freedom and not, as he said, maybe their parents forced him?
Because of many interviews after becoming famous or achieving their dream, interviews, biographies, and all this will be there. But let us come to the point about the topic. It's just an example given to prove that granting freedom will lead few people into a successful position. It's not just an example.
It's not about people, it's about children.
Yeah, that's what, children. Children will transform into adulthood, right? So they're called. Now stick to the topic.
You can't say that he got freedom in childhood. He may get freedom when he was grown up, right?
No, when automatically after grown up, how can you become successful? There must be years of training and practice.
The desire to indulge your child is extremely high, but if you don't want to spoil your child, you need to be objective. Respected teachers, fellow mates, and esteemed judges, good afternoon. This is Yashvi Bafna. In today's debate, we are here to discuss a topic that holds significant importance in shaping the future of our society. Granting freedom spoils the children. As we delve into this contentious issue, it is crucial to recognize that freedom is a double-edged sword. While it is undoubtedly essential for fostering independence and personal growth of the child, there exists a fine line between empowering children and inadvertently spoiling them. Let us explore the potential pitfalls leading to the fall in discipline, responsibility, and the overall development of children because of excessive freedom. Researchers have found that overly relaxed approach to parenting given by permissive parents can lead to a number of negative outcomes. Children raised by permissive parents tend to lack discipline, possess poor social skills, self-centered, may feel insecure due to the lack of guidance and boundaries. Child discipline is a method used to prevent future unwanted behavior in children. Too much freedom can instill a sense of entitlement and selfishness in children. It can also expose children to dangers and risky behavior. They may struggle to understand the importance of rules and regulations. In conclusion, we must strike a delicate balance between granting freedom and also teaching them more values and principles to shape our children into compassionate, responsible, and successful individuals. Thank you.
Then how it will be that yours is further topic, no? How can we say that balance is correct? You should only stick to the topic of not against.
Everything needs a balance, right?
Then you are speaking about first topic. How can you say both are equal?
Granting freedom spoils the children. Without freedom, how can you live? You say me?
That is what we want freedom. That's why we are.
But we need boundaries also. It should be unrestricted freedom, right? It should be unrestricted. It should be restricted freedom, right? You are saying unrestricted freedom, and I am saying restricted freedom.
Boundaries. It's enough and limited freedom.
You are saying freedom, excessive freedom, over freedom, or limited freedom, but freedom is freedom only, right?
That is what do you want to project? What's your main idea?
Hi everyone, myself Rishita from class 8s. Today I stand in front of you all to support the statement, granting freedom may not spoil children, because if we give freedom to children, they can learn and explore. They can be independent on their own. Freedom is the power to act, speak, and change what they want. I observe these days that parents restrict their children, that their kids from going out and doing what they want, because they think that what if something bad happens. Kids these days get less freedom than their parents did, because parents don't trust their kids. And they might think that they take advantage of their freedom. If they have trust on their kids use their freedom wisely. I want to say one thing, that strict parenting causes sneaky children. Thank you.
You said that the children will become independent when they are granted freedom, right? When they are independent, obviously sometimes they may not be able to understand whether the decision they are taking is right or wrong. So obviously sometimes they'll go into a wrong path.
First of all, before the parents give freedom to their children, they first give training to them, like you should not do this, you should do this.
When they are already granted freedom, they will not think, oh, if I'm doing right or no. Obviously they'll think that what I'm doing is correct, it's acceptable.
Yeah, but if parents grant more freedom to at least for excessive freedom.
What excessive freedom? It's freedom.
If they have that mind, they have that situation in mind, they think that it's excessive freedom, they will not say, so parents will not say anything, no.
Then obviously they're going to a wrong path when parents will not say.
If they have excessive freedom only, they will go, no. If they have limited freedom.
First, when they have freedom itself, they'll think, what I'm doing is correct. They'll make it experience. That is what, to contrast and make experiences only, freedom must be granted. What? Repeat it again. It's like, I'm saying, no, what did you say before? I'm saying that obviously sometimes when they don't know which decision to make, they will go in the wrong path. They'll make wrong decisions. How can you say that only they make wrong decisions? They will only make right decisions. That is what, we cannot judge the thing, no. So the only thing we can... That's what, when they are under the parents'
then let alone.
You're not understanding my point. My point is that if they are under parents' restrictions, that means without freedom, they will obviously not go into a wrong path. That's my point.
There is a freedom with boundaries.
We are not talking about freedom with boundaries or not. Just I'm talking about freedom. And I'm done. And I don't agree.
This is Gautam. You said trust, but trust and freedom are different.
When did you say about trust? It's like parents will give freedom only if they according to if they trust the children. That is what the point we mentioned.
Okay, that's great. Please stop. Now let's go to the fourth.
A very good afternoon, everybody. I am Moha, debating for the motion. Anything without boundaries is bad. Restrictions are needed for growing children along with freedom. They can't be given everything they are asked. A parent or teacher must understand the right value of giving exact amount of freedom. A children's choices and freedom must be narrowed so that they meet the future obligations in the right way. When they are given freedom without restrictions, they are not sensible enough to make right decisions. They follow a wrong path. They are prone to anxiety and depression. They are permitted to rule themselves and believe that what they are doing is correct, and they think that it's acceptable outside the house. It can lead to lack of responsibility and accountability. Without appropriate guidance and boundaries, they don't learn to take responsibilities. And all these can be controlled only by giving some restrictions. I don't say that giving freedom is too bad, but there should be some restrictions. I'd like to wrap up the speech with a quote. Freedom is like oxygen until and unless we turn it into carbon dioxide. Freedom is a medicine, and the right way to use this medicine is not by keeping it out of reach of children's hand, but by giving them the proper dose, or it will kill them.
What way?
You want me to prove?
Yeah.
See, when children are, when they are given freedom, and suddenly when they ask something too much big that the parents can't do, and when they will say no, obviously until now they have got whatever they want, and suddenly when they say no, obviously they'll go into depression.
Okay, next question.
How can you say that leads to lack of responsibilities?
Because when you're given freedom, your parents are there to choose everything for you. Then obviously you will lack responsibility and accountability, which is more important.
This is Chaitra. You told that we need to give a right amount of freedom, but that is our topic. Why you are taking our topic?
It's just to balance, I said that, right amount of freedom. Okay? To balance the topic.
Balancing is not the topic of yours.
See, it's not the topic of yours either.
We are against the topic. It will not spoil.
But sometimes even you will agree with us. Now it's like completely disagreeing. You have to not disagree with us, but you have to prove yours is right. Okay?
We need to say that the topic is granting freedom spoils the children.
Yeah,
but you should say that how it is spoiling the children, not balancing and maintaining it.
The script doesn't contain how it spoils. I said so many points how it is spoiling.
You even iterated that statement, no?
Yeah, I'm saying no, it's to balance. Right amount of freedom.
Not agree.
7-8. Granting freedom to the children does not spoil them, helps in children growth and responsibility. When children are given freedom, it gives them an opportunity to make their own decisions and experiences the consequences of action, which helps them to learn. It promotes creativity and individuality to do work themselves. Freedom helps to explore interests and talents. Building trust and community between parents and children encourages communication. Positive emotional well-being boosts self-esteem, self-confidence, and overall happiness. Problem-solving capability increases with freedom when they fail to do some decision. Helps to learn from mistakes
ability to adopt solutions independently. Helps with
You say why they are called children, why not adults?
Because this topic is about children only now. Giving freedom to children, that is the topic.
You said they improve the problem solving skills, right? They improve the problem solving skills.
Yes,
Yes, if we give freedom, how will they improve the problem solving skills?
they can, if they got some problems when they became the adults, they can solve it when they get the freedom.
But the topic is about children, right?
Children only, but you only preparation for adulthood.
So problem solving you are saying is preparation for adulthood.
Problem solving in the sense it's maybe big or small, right? So what do you want to exactly say?
I'm sorry, I did not understand. But how are you so sure that freedom does not spoil the children?
It's like we are not completely saying that it doesn't.
No, she said that statement, that exact statement.
It depends on the children, right? Children's behavior. Then we can go constitutionally that we have rights for children.
She did not give a possibility statement. She said that it will not spoil the children.
But not all the children, right? So
Why did she mention that we are asking?
This is not over freedom, right? I just told freedom.
Yes, but still, how are you so sure that it won't spoil the children?
Freedom doesn't matter, it's excess or not, right?
Okay, time up.
What is the question now? If you get to face a problem in your future, parents might help or not, but it will affect our mental health. If you don't have freedom at the childhood, like you couldn't share to anyone like parents, it will affect our future.
In which way? Good or bad? You're not asking the question.
We cannot predict the way, right? It may be the good impact or bad impact. It depends on the problem and solutions, right?
What is the question? You're not asking a question.
No, she asked that it will the problem solving skills if we develop from childhood in adulthood will not face any problem because childhood is the beginning step and the preparation for adulthood. That is what we are going to do.
How can you ensure? You're not asking a question. You're conveying a point. You're saying that it won't affect adulthood. You're not asking a point.
No, like in your speech, I guess you spoke about employment, right? Once you cross-check. So employment. If we think that if you don't have freedom. If you don't have freedom, it's like you're sticking only to one point, right? If parents granted us freedom, we can have many options, right?
Yes, you have many options. But if you have freedom, then you might go in the wrong path. That's what we are trying to convey.
It's not like we don't have freedom. Parents know better than us, right? So they know what is good for us.
That is
so
what.
they'll obviously choose the right path for us.
That is what parents knew because they have experiences in their childhood, right? So that is what when we became parents, we have to be cautious.
But actually, this kind of freedom is given from this generation only. That generation, they were under strict, rules. So because of that only, now they are able to give us experiences.
Without the experiences, we would go into danger.
That is what, no experiences, we will get only experiences if freedom was granted, right?
Even without freedom, they will get many experiences.
No, let's give me an example then.
What is that? Just now, the example you told. Parents, they will say us their experiences.
If a child gets a problem in their childhood, if they're not given freedom, they'll not have the choice to solve the problem by their own
The
right.
parents will guide them to solve the problem.
Listen to my questions.
They won't know how to solve the problem. But the parents have been through experiences to solve the problem.
Yes, parents will help them. So they won't use their brain, right? Parents are the one who's helping them to face their problem.
But
Because what
If child misses the freedom, he or she will get spoiled, right?
You use the word if. If they didn't misuse, what will happen? There will be a positive impact, right? That's it.
What if the decisions are wrong? If the decision makes them to go in wrong path, what you'll do?
But I told that the consequences of actions which help them to learn. I mentioned that point even.
You said children need freedom to experiment. So how are you so sure everything that they experiment will go in a right way?
That is what experiments may fail or sometimes we
What if they become deadly or very dangerous?
That irreversible things. There is not a possibility, right?
How? Really possible. Yes, so but you are not controlling them. So they can experiment in a place which could be very dangerous for them.
Parents will be there to guide the children, right? It's like a child cannot.
But that's not giving freedom.
That is freedom with boundaries. We do mention it.
That's
not the topic.
That's what we are trying to convey. Those are the restrictions.
What is your question?
We are asking children, they need to be given freedom to experiment, you are saying. Well, if they are allowed to experiment, what if they experiment in the wrong place, which can lead to deadly things, irreversible things?
Irreversible things may pose loss for the.
We didn't use the word experiments, experiences. Look at my school.
Not you, it said you.
Nobody will experiment.
You are saying that if freedom is given, experiments you go to the deadly one, you are saying the same thing, right? So you are agreeing that freedom is given. Are you agreeing?
We are not agreeing.
Excuse me, again that argument is going on. Already they asked, other person answered actually. Question from Science House, actually Krishna.
How can you say that, how can you measure the responsibility that you are talking about, the freedom you are talking about? Sometimes you are towards the motion and sometimes you are against the motion. So in that way I want to know. Like sometimes you are telling about this much of freedom is required and sometimes you say there is no need of freedom. So why are you not sticking to your topic?
Yes, ma'am, I am Harshita. We are respecting their opinion, we agree with their opinion, but we are supporting our topic. That we are saying that granting freedom spoils the children, but we are not saying that they should not given freedom. Children should not given freedom. We are just respecting the topic. Excessive freedom.
We are trying to achieve a balance in the freedom. So there's a thin difference between freedom just plain and a freedom with boundaries, which we are trying to convey. They are trying to convey without boundaries.
Will you accept there is boundaries in your freedom?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
Surely?
Yes.
Okay.
Present, the math house is the winner. And I really appreciate. I don't know what is happening with math house this year. They are zooming up like a rocket. And maybe Chandrayaan or Suryayan. So they will be doing. Okay, and I appreciate all of you for your hard work. May God bless you, children. God bless you.
Gratitude for being with us for all this time. Thank you, dear parents and judges, and encouraging and suggesting and advising all of. Thank you so much, and STEM School will keep you in the heart of STEM School. Thank you so much.